Okay, we're starting with A Tale of Two Cities, Book 2, Chapter 7, Monsignor in Town. It's a little bit difficult, this chapter, so we'll do it in parts. This is part 1, paragraph 1. Monsignor, one of the great lords in power at the court, held his fortnightly reception in his grand hotel in Paris. So basically, Monsignor, who represents Louis XVI, is having a party. And Monsignor was in his inner room, his sanctuary of sanctuaries, the holiest of holies, to the crowd of worshippers in the suite of rooms without. Monsignor was about to take his chocolat. Monsignor could swallow a great many things with ease, and was, by some few sullen minds, supposed to be rather rapidly swallowing France. But his morning's chocolat could not so much as get into the throat of Monsignor without the aid of 4 strong men besides the cook. So this is showing you his extreme decadence. In order to take a sip of hot chocolate, he has to have 4 people and the cook help prepare it and bring it to him. Yes, it took 4 men, all 4 ablaze with gorgeous decoration, and the chief of them unable to exist with fewer than 2 gold watches in his pocket, emulative of the noble and chaste fashion set by Monsignor to conduct the happy chocolate to Monsignor's lips. One lackey carried the chocolate pot into the sacred presence. A second milled and frothed the chocolate with a little instrument he bore for that function. A third presented the favored napkin. A fourth, he of the 2 gold watches, poured the chocolate out. It was impossible for Monsignor to dispense with one of these attendants on the chocolate and hold his high place under the admiring heavens. Deep would have been the blot upon his escutcheon if his chocolate had been ignobly waited on by only 3 men. He must have died of 2. Monsignor had been out at a little supper last night, where the comedy and the grand opera were charmingly represented. Monsignor was out at a little supper most nights with fascinating company. So polite and so impressionable was Monsignor that the comedy and the grand opera had far more influence with him in the tiresome articles of state affairs and state secrets than the needs of all of France. In other words, he's more interested in what's going on at all the other parties and the movies than he is interested in what's going on in the parliament and the places where he should be paying attention. A happy circumstance for France, as the like is always for all countries similarly favored. Always was for England, by way of example, in the regretted days of the Mary Stuart who sold it. Monsignor had one truly noble idea of general public business, which was to let everything go on in its own way. Of particular public business, Monsignor had the other truly noble idea that it must all go his way, or tend to his own power and pocket. Of his pleasures, generally and particular, Monsignor had the other truly noble idea that the world was made for him. The text of his order, altered from the original by only a pronoun, which is not much, ran, "The earth and the fullness thereof are mine, saith Monsignor." So the original text is, "saith the Lord," and Monsignor sees himself as a god. Yet Monsignor had slowly found that vulgar embarrassments crept into his affairs, both private and public, and he had, as to both classes of affairs, allied himself perforce with a farmer general. A farmer general is a tax collector. As to finances public, because Monsignor could not make anything at all of them and must consequently let them out to somebody who could. As to finances private, because farmer generals were rich and Monsignor, after generations of great luxury and expense, was growing poor. Hence, Monsignor had taken his sister from a convent while there was still yet time to ward off the impending veil, the cheapest garment she could wear, and had bestowed her as a prize upon a very rich farmer general, poor in family. So in other words, the aristocracy is the king is becoming bankrupt, so he is So this guy gets his sister out of the convent and marries her to a rich man so that he can, through marriage, have some money. Which farmer general, carrying an appropriate cane with a golden apple on top of it, was now among the company in the outer rooms, much prostrated before mankind, always accepting superior mankind of the blood of Monsignor, who, his own wife included, looked down upon him with the loftiest contempt.